The man I met online wasn't using a fake profile, a stolen picture, or anything to indicate to me that he was a scammer. But at the end, he turned out to be just that, a scammer. I met the man I knew as Satish in 2020, and it was one of those pandemic lonely stories. I was in an online friendship/dating group. This was during lockdown, and honestly, I was bored, lonely, working from home, and my laptop and phone became my best company. I've been divorced for 8 years. By this time, I don't have any kids, and I was 38. This group I was in had thousands of members. Most would post a photo of themselves in the group, and then say their age, location, and whether they were single or taken, and it was like a dating site, but not really. Now, I've never done something like this where I posted a picture of myself to a huge group, but I found a pretty decent photo of myself, posted my name, my state, country, age, and put that I was single. I expected to get flooded with garbage, nude photos of random guys, but I was hoping maybe to meet someone for intelligent conversation, and let me emphasize, conversation was what I was after. Not a soulmate, not an eternal lover, just conversation. But my predictions were right. I got bombarded with men sending naked photos, vile requests for dirty chat, and a handful of messages in other languages. Satish, however, sent me a message along with his photo. He said that he found me to have beautiful soul because he looked into my eyes. He was 30 and he lived in India. He was attractive, but the kindness in his words are what caught my attention. He wasn't dirty, and I told him thank you, and it was a relief from all the nasty photos and vile chat requests that I had gotten. Satish said he was single, 30 years old, lived in India. I knew very little about India, so I had to Google the city that he said he lived in just to find out some more information about it. He said he was an engineer and he was finishing up studies and had hoped to begin working for a large company in India. I've since forgotten the name of the company, but he did tell me at one time. He said the pandemic had caused him to become housebound, much like myself, and he was working in an online support type of job, but he never got into too much detail on it. I imagine it was probably a call center type of situation. He said he lived at home and he was caring for his parents, and said that it's quite common for male adult children to live with their parents into adulthood and beyond. He said he was not married, and he told me several times that he has no kids. I don't have any children, as I said, and my own marriage was one where we kind of drifted apart, mostly due to our differences of both politics and spirituality. And I explained this to Satish, and we instantly connected. Sometimes you just meet people you connect with right away, and he was one of those people. We continued to chat in Messenger, and he gave me his phone number, but never asked for mine. We actually ended up talking over WhatsApp, so we did exchange numbers, and we left each other voice notes. And he did leave me a video message so I could see that he was real, and we had even joked about online scammers. I did the same for him, left him a video, and he said he loved hearing my Western accent. We would joke often about our accents and cultural differences. He filled my evenings with very intelligent conversation, and because of the time difference, we would often chat late into my evenings and night, and sometimes into the wee hours of the morning. During this whole lockdown thing, I didn't have a schedule set in stone. As long as I got my online work done, I was fine. It was a friendship that blossomed into a romantic online relationship that I wasn't expecting. I didn't consider it serious at first, more of an online flirting thing. We would share our ideas, talk about politics, our dreams, hopes, goals in life, and things did take a romantic turn as the chats continued. Satish would send me poems he found that made him think of me, and songs from his country that meant a lot to him. We would video chat, but not all the time, mostly due to him living at home with his parents. He said he couldn't always video call, which I understood, but when we did video chat, we always enjoyed each other's company, and we had a few naughty video chats together. I know people say you shouldn't expose yourself to a stranger online, but he didn't make me feel like a stranger or that he was a stranger. We had a connection through this whole lockdown, and I felt like he was with me, even though he was across the world. I shared with him all of my personal details, including who I worked for, how long I've worked for the company, and I even complained to him in text message about my boss and how I couldn't stand how he spoke to me sometimes and how dumb I thought he was when he got promoted, as we both started at the company around the same time, and I felt more qualified than him to be in charge. I really shared so much with Satish. Months went on, and we planned to meet after travel was safe again. Now, this was not something I really thought would happen, but this online fling turned into a real relationship in my mind's eye. There were a few times that Satish would hang up on me during our voice chats. He mainly said because his parents were around and due to the cultural and protective nature, they wouldn't understand the whole online dating thing, especially with a foreign woman. But he said once I came to meet them in person, it would change their minds. Satish told me a few times that he was struggling financially due to the pandemic and work had slowed down. He said he was having difficulty making enough to keep food for himself and his parents. While he didn't ask for money right away, he would drop a few hints here and there. And for a few days he continued with this. Finally, he brought up to asking if he could borrow $500 from me just until he could catch up on things. I felt like he would have done the same for me, and I ended up doing a money transfer from my account to his. He said he felt bad, but that he really had no other way to get food and supplies into the house, and he showed me that he would be earning more money in the coming months and be able to pay me back. I felt like it was no different me helping him than if he were here and me and him were to share our earnings together like a real couple and help out the family. We continued our online relationship, and the exchange of money didn't change anything. He didn't vanish like a scammer would. He was even more loving, more affectionate, and more thankful to me that I was able to help him and his family. One night on video, it was around 2 in the morning for Satish. We were video chatting and playing around, if you know what I mean. Suddenly a woman came into the room screaming, and I didn't know what she was saying. He started yelling and the camera was still on. This woman was young, maybe in her 20s I would guess, and I assumed it was a relative of his. He said sorry to me on video and cut the video call. He didn't respond to my texts or calls for 3 days. On the 4th day, he sent me a text message asking if we could talk. He told me that he couldn't be in a relationship with me anymore, and when I asked him why, he said because he was dishonest with me and that he was really married. That his wife, who walked in on him video chatting with us, that's who she was. I was shook and I didn't know what to say or how to even respond. I finally snapped out of it and began yelling at him, telling him he was nothing but a cheater and a liar, and how dare he. The audacity of some people, I told him, and I wanted my $500 back and gave him a month to send the money back to me. That's when things took a dark turn. Satish then told me that if I didn't send him $2,000 by the end of the month, he would turn in all the screenshots of my conversation talking about my boss to my company, and then share our X-rated video chats with all of my friends, family, my company, and ruin my life. He had recorded all of our video chats and saved all of our texts and saved some of the X-rated pictures I had also given him. He even showed me the screenshots and email he had ready to send my boss, which he had obtained his email address from the information I shared about my company. I didn't know what to say. I was scared and angry. I tried to play defense on him and told him I would get in touch with his parents and wife and tell them what a horrible cheater he is. This is when Satish video chatted with me and I accepted the call. I was yelling and angry and ready for a fight. But there on video was Satish and the woman who walked in on us during our video chat. They were both laughing at me, and I must have looked wide-eyed and floored on video. He said he and his wife were all in on this. He and his wife continued laughing at me. They called me all sorts of names, and both of them demanded I send the $2,000 or they would turn over the information to my boss, family, and friends. Were they both in on this thing together, I thought? Was this some sort of sick family of scammers, a husband and wife scammer team? I told them both off while I fought back tears. I was angry and heartbroken at the same time, as well as confused and scared. Satish turned into this horrible human being, demanding the money or else. I can still hear the sound of his wife, or whoever she was, laughing and holding her hand out on camera saying, pay us now, yelling and calling me terrible names. I was freaking out and ended the call, and I blocked him on his number, blocked him on WhatsApp and on social media. He had my email and my home address. I was a bit rattled, and I ended up sending a company email to my boss and colleagues, letting them know that someone had hacked my phone and email and sent out messages posing as me, but it wasn't me. Sure, it was a white lie, but I did my best to protect myself. My boss ended up calling me and asking what I was talking about. I had to elaborate on a lie, and I told him that someone had hacked my phone because I had accidentally clicked on a link, and they sent out tons of Photoshop pictures of me and messages that were not typed by me. He believed it and told me to be more careful next time. I felt like I created a safety barrier and things would be okay. I made sure that I blocked Satish in every possible way, and I warned my friends and family and boss and went on with my life in isolation, which made things worse as I was always fearful and I had more time to think about things and be scared. This man knew where I lived, and I felt so dirty. I kept thinking, did his wife watch us on video all the time? Was she in the background laughing? What else could I do? I called the police, and they said that since I willingly sent the money, there's not much that they can do about it. They advised me to block any threats and just do not respond. About a week went by with no contact before I started getting emails from various addresses I didn't recognize. It was 10 to 15 second video clips of me from Satish and I's intimate times on video. The clips always had a message with them, including how they were being uploaded on adult sites and countdown to how many days I had left to pay him. I ended up contacting the police again, who told me to mark the email as spam and block the sender when possible. They filed an incident report to have it on record, but they couldn't do much about it as the sender is from India. They urged me not to respond to any of it. These clips continued for a few weeks. I kept ignoring until I couldn't take it anymore, and I told Satish off before blocking another new email. I finally closed out my email address after telling him and his disgusting family they'll never get a dime from me. I changed my email, phone number, deleted WhatsApp, deactivated my social media account for a while. I was scared, and I even listened to every noise in the house, thinking since I blocked him, he would send someone to come after me. Nothing came of it, though, other than my paranoia. Months finally went by with no further threats or contact, and I think due to changing everything, he simply couldn't find me. My boss never got any email or messages, or if he did, he never told me about it. I'm not sure what type of scam this is or if this is frequently happening to people, but it happened to me. I was scammed by a person who presented himself in a genuine way. Thanks for listening, and be careful, even if they are real. And we'd like to thank this lady for sharing her story. Unfortunately, scammers come in all walks of life, all kinds of photos. They use their real self, their real videos. They scam you with their real name and all their information, and then sometimes they use fake profiles and fake personas. It's always good to be very alert, and when someone asks you for money, especially if you've never met them in person, always take a step back, look at the situation, and don't be afraid to say no. If you'd like to share your story, if you've encountered a scammer, whether you lost money or not, you can find us scammingscammers@gmail.com. We are also currently on Facebook under Scamming Scammers Cyber Education. You can share your story in our inbox there as well. If you do email us at Gmail, please give us about a week or so to respond, as we do get a lot of email. Thanks for listening, and until next time, stay safe.